Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ryan here from the Nostalgia Factor, back again with another review as part of our Kingdom Hearts Marathon. Today guys, we're going to be continuing the marathon with the second game in the series, Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories, on the PlayStation 2.
Along the road ahead lies something you need. However, in order to claim it, you must lose something that is dear to you.
The original Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories was released on the Game Boy Advance back in 2004, released by Square Enix and Disney, with their collaboration resulting in the Kingdom Hearts series being born in the first place. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, however, though, because it was released on such a niche console, and by the time Kingdom Hearts 2 and various other games in the series were out by that point on other varying consoles, they decided to remake the second game in order to bring it to a more modern audience and help modernize this key point in the story between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, thus resulting in the remake, Re-Chain of Memories, being released and in 2008, also on the PlayStation 2, as previously mentioned. This is a very unusual and unique game in the Kingdom Hearts series. This is by far the most unique combat and gameplay experience you will have in the entire series. Despite the variations that the series would have, it still features the same hack and slash kind of magic RPG gameplay you're used to. This game takes that and puts a whole different spin on it, as we're going to get into. Hearts Re-Chain of Memories follows the events of the original Kingdom Hearts game, with Sora, Donald, and Goofy going off to find King Mickey, and Riku and Kairi, Sora's friends, in order to find them after they defeated Ansem and Kingdom Hearts was sealed away once again at the end of the original game. Because of this, they are lured in by new antagonists known as Organization 13, the leader of which in this game is Marluxia, and the organization has lured Sora into a place called Castle Oblivion, where the further they travel in, the more memories they end up losing. So, as the gang travels through, trying to unravel the mystery of Castle Oblivion and combat these new foes, Sora has to contend with not only losing old memories, but somehow gaining new ones in the process, via a mysterious woman known as Naminé. Now, while the game's story, it doesn't matter overall in the original series due to events that transpire at the end of this game and, of course, in Kingdom Hearts 2, the fact that this game's story isn't really mentioned too much throughout the series may be bothersome to some hardcore fans, but in general, you don't really need to know the plot of this game in order to advance the series. You more so need it to bridge the gap between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 to know how Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and other characters end up in the positions they do in Kingdom Hearts 2. The story overall, though, is well executed despite not being totally relevant in the series as a whole, It's very well executed. It showcases the personalities of Sora and his advancements brilliantly, with losing memories of previous games, gaining new ones that are messing with his mind, the dialogue exchanges that he has between the different enemies and the different characters throughout the game, the fact that throughout the entire game his character arc progresses more and more to show, despite the fact that he's losing his memories and heart, he's still retaining who he is until the very end. So, this story presents a very great detail for Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and it has really great antagonists in this game, Organization 13 specifically being showcased as really good and evil, maniacal villains with Marluxia and Larxene respectively, and Axel, who's a fan-favorite character at this point, being introduced, and his character arc being progressed a lot more than what you might think in this initial game. So overall, the introduction of characters in the story here is really solid. This game also features another unique feature. Besides playing as Sora, which is the main plot, there's a side plot, you could call it, of Riku. After the events of Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku, trying to make up for what happened in Kingdom Hearts 1, travels through Castle Oblivion, just through the basement areas, while Sora's going through his adventure. Riku's story is a lot more short, and it's more straight to the point, with Riku conquering the previous darkness as being the main theme, with a few new allies he encounters within the castle, and taking down some Organization 13 members to boot. But Riku's story can be surmised as, with the aid of King Mickey, Riku is able to conquer his own personal demons from the first game and defeat an incarnation of Ansem at the end of the castle. So, in all honesty, Riku's story is a little too simple for its own good, I believe. There should have been a lot more meat and bones on this. And as you travel through the different worlds throughout the castle, which are recreations of memories from the first game, you travel through all the same worlds from the original Kingdom Hearts game, which is going to be a turn-off for some people, because there's nothing new. Even Sora's story, there is nothing new. They're basically retellings of the first game. And I really wish there would have been like some real voiceover cutscenes or something to add more substance to it, considering how you're basically replaying the story. So that can be a bit of a drag, but it works to its advantage, and Riku's story in that department I wish had more, because Riku just, you go in, you battle the boss, that's it. That's all you do. There's nothing else. Riku doesn't encounter anybody else in the worlds. So I wish there would have been a bit more in that department, but overall, story is really good in this game, and it fits well with the characters for the most part.
Like it!
To not drag out this point too much, the music in this game is amazing. It carries over a lot of the different tracks from Kingdom Hearts 1, but it puts its own emphasis and spin on it, and especially with the different world themes carrying over, as well as Castle Oblivion itself even have a very ominous and mysterious soundtrack to it. Rechain of Memories does the music department brilliantly, as does most of the games in the Kingdom Hearts series, if not all of them that we're going to be taking a look at for the marathon. So music-wise, the game's great. Now, visual-wise, too, this is a major upgrade from Kingdom Hearts 1, and even 2 in some departments, mostly because this game is a from-the-ground-up remake from the original Game Boy Advance game. The Game Boy Advance is a system known for many limitations, especially in the graphic department, and comparing that game to this game, with the entire thing being overhauled with new CG cutscenes, with new environments, new gameplay perspectives being added in, whole worlds being created for you to travel through. It's utterly amazing what they accomplished, especially with a remake of a Game Boy Advance game. Square Enix, I have to give them credit, especially for the graphical department with everything. The enemy animations, the sprites, the castle you go through itself, no matter how bare bones it might look at times. The worlds are vibrant and beautiful, especially with the more open world aesthetic we'll get into in the gameplay part. And the whole thing looks really good to execute. The moves, the combat, the swing of the Keyblade, the different enemy attacks like Larxene's Thundershocks, Marluxia's petals as they flutter to the ground in his boss fight. There's all sorts of little subtle details that, again, for a remake, this game looks utterly brilliant on the PlayStation 2, and I'm impressed in the music and graphic department with Rechain. Now, the most iconic part about this game by far is the gameplay change. Kingdom Hearts is known for its hack-and-slash RPG strategy-based combat, and this game is a very big exception to that rule. So, this is the part of the video where people are going to be kind of conflicted on whether or not this is their personal play style. I'm going to preface this by saying I like this style of gameplay. I like what they did with Reach Aim, but a lot of other people who are used to other games in the series or other games like this in general, if you're not into the whole strategy card-based system that this game uses, the gameplay might be a turnoff for you, and I understand why. I really think this should have been addressed in a different way that would give other players options that don't like the card combat, but me personally, while I understand why other people might not like it, I personally do. So Kingdom Hearts Reach Into Memories ends up using a card-based system where you have decks of cards that you can customize that you get throughout the castle that you get from defeating enemies. Whenever you battle an enemy, you're in an enclosed arena, and when you defeat them, you get to move on to another set of worlds. And, of course, progress further on in the current world you're in. These cards also represent different attacks that you can do, different magic spells, different curing, lightning, fire, ice, all the standard ones that you had in the previous game. And in addition to your attacks, you also have different Keyblade cards that you can get that represent different Keyblades from different worlds that you can gather. And overall, you also have cards that can also unlock other rooms. Now, all these cards you have to assemble into a deck, and you can only have a certain number of cards in there at a time, which means you're limited. But this gives you so much room to diversify your attacks in order to be able to add different cards in, add different number of attack cards, different number of spell cards, maybe chuck in a few different boss cards that you get from other bosses that give you special perks like increased attack and whatnot. It gives you a lot of really great diversity and strategy when it comes to this game, and I really think that works to its advantage. Now, people, again, that aren't in the strategy part, it can be tedious because at some points when you encounter certain bosses, you're going to have to customize your deck, you're going to have to go in and remove cards if you exceed the amount or the capacity that you can have in there, and that's not even counting the card values. Besides strategizing the cards, deciding what cards you want to use to progress to the next room, because as you travel through the different worlds, it's a room-based system. The card that you end up using to unlock the door to the next room is going to emphasize the entire experience. For one, if you use a treasure room key, you end up having a whole room full of chests full of goodies. If you end up using an enemy card key, however, you're going to have a whole room full of enemies. So it's really deciding what cards you want to use to unlock doors in the rooms as well. So it's not just the combat you have to strategize, but it's also the different layouts that you go through in the rooms. You decide the difficulty, you decide what enemies spawn, you decide everything about the room you're about to go into. And that's what this whole card system is based off on. RPG strategy in that sense. And that's, again, not even counting the besides worrying about any of that stuff, you also have numbers. Now, your opponents also use cards for their attacks, too, as well, throughout the game. Now, you have different value points on there. 0, for one, cancels out an entire attack. And you can also combine different cards together, not just to have more powerful attacks or spells, but also have a certain number built up. So, for example, if you use a card combination that has, like, a value of 7, and you use it against your opponent with a value of 5, if they have, like, 3 cards selected for a combo, like you're battling a boss, you cancel out their attack, they don't attack you. And that's a really cool thing that they implemented in the game, and again, I personally enjoy this, because you could have an entire deck built around a boss, cancel every attack, and manage to go and to beat down your opponent. Of course, your opponent can also do the same thing to you. If you have a lower attack value than what they do, or they have a 0 card, your attack won't work either. So it balances itself out really well. Again, I see how tedious this is. This is why this game is as controversial as it is in the series, because of just how the card combat works, with the combat, with going through rooms, with battling against different enemies and organizing everything. There's a lot to process here. And another thing, too, is if you use too many cards at once, depending on the cards you have in your certain set deck at a time, you have to recharge. Now, you have to stand in a certain place and wait 2 to 3 seconds per time that you have to do it. The problem is this makes you very vulnerable, and the more times you do it, the slower it is to recharge your cards. So you could have no cards, speed recharging, and the enemy could kill you if you have low health. So while I see why a lot of people wouldn't like this system, and this is a huge part of the game, and I understand why this would be a turn-off. The classic fans of Kingdom Hearts that love the hack-and-slash element, they don't want to have to worry about strategizing what cards they want to bring in, what cards they want to use for the room layout, or any of that other stuff. I personally love the implementation that they have in this game, the creativity to make your own decks, to have different cards and whatnot. It's just utterly amazing what they ended up doing with the card combat to me, but again, I do understand why some people may not enjoy it.
This is it! This is it! Okay!
all in all, for Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, I personally loved this game. Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories is one of those games in the series that isn't too significant story-wise. Again, it's mostly a bridge between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, but Rechain definitely has a spot in the series for having the most unique combat, visually looking amazing for a remake, amazing music, a story with a lot of really good emotion and depth within the new characters they introduce, and fan favorites as a whole. I think all that stuff works out really well. Of course, also being a remake with a brand new combat system, it's also going to have its own flaws and issues, with the story not being relevant in some places. I really wish that a lot of different stories like Riku's and whatnot would have been emphasized a hell of a lot more than what it was. And the card system may be turning off some other people that may not want to use it because it requires a lot more strategy than the other games. So the game does have a few turn-offs for people that may not want to endure this kind of card combat system. But I think overall, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories is a fantastic addition to the series. And if you're interested at all in checking out this classic, for the story, for the characters, for even trying out the combat, I highly recommend it. So, overall, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, while the most unusual in the series gameplay-wise, and one of the most forgotten by a lot of people, I think it's a really good game, and I think you guys should give it a shot if you're curious about jumping into the series with this game. And that is going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you guys think about Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories in the comments. I know this is the most controversial game in the series for the most part concerning the combat, so I'm curious to see what you guys think about the game, either from what you see in the video, from what you've personally experienced, or maybe you want to check out the game after this. Just let me know all your thoughts on Rechain down in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to catch more videos like this one in the future. We got 3 more games left of this marathon, guys, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to the future ones. Join me next time whenever we're covering Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. It's our first Nintendo DS title on this list, and oh boy, I have a few things to say about this one. So, all in all, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Keep on gaming.